Hello, I love that jingle, and welcome to the latest Shuffle House. That's it, and over the next hour or more, you will be taken into a deep, deep world of new music, new sounds, coming your way to your very ears. And featured on the show is Frogi, and Frogi is a Los Angeles-based singer, songwriter, and producer, and she is a wonderful singer-songwriter, and the music really does tell of and the music really does tell of courage, tell of honesty, and just deep reflection. And she fills us in on everything from her work in tonight's show. And it was wonderful to catch up with her and hear what she has to say. And yeah, coming up on the show, we've got music from the likes of Kylie V, got music from I Don't Speak French, King Bug. We have music later on from Liberty. Also, we have music from Irish artist Royal Yellow, and also the wonderful Benjamin Carter. That's all coming up in the show for your pleasure. And we're just going to get kick started now with Kylie V and On My Mind.
Butterfly So the song is essentially about not being able to make up your mind, and how sometimes that can hurt people around you. It took me a really long time to make it, and I don't think I was ever really done with it. I just decided I had to stop working on it. It has a lot of samples, and I'm playing a lot of synth and guitar, so it feels very layered and chaotic, which is perfect for the emotion I was trying to get out of the song. And the second half is definitely my favorite part. It's a few different samples of a Beach Boys song cut up and slowed down to make the bass line and that pan-fluty background. And it's supposed to be like the come down from the chaos when you finally land on that hard decision, which you pretty much knew that you had to make in the first place. I hope you like it.
That is the latest track from I Don't Speak French, and it's called One for the Team. And apparently the band constantly experiments and reinvents itself with collaborations. The one thing they say that remains a constant is the band's love for hooks, big choruses and memorable riffs. They go on to say that no song should ever sound the same. They say, I would rather have the listener jump out of their seat than having to repeat it myself. I think I agree with them there. I do like what I Don't Speak French are doing. That is true. And before that, you heard King Bug with Feeling Good, Feeling Bad, and you heard a little synopsis of the track just before it. And King Bug is a solo project of Eddie Cuspiel, and he's a Brooklyn-based artist, and you know, his work is both autobiographical and imaginative, and it's eroded and remade by time and the friction of a memory at work. And kicking the show off with a sweet one was Kylie V with On My Mind. And Kylie V is a project of Vancouver singer-songwriter Kylie Van Slyke, and it's from the debut album Big Blue. And Kylie V has said the song is about trying to find a balance between giving your time and energy to someone else and prioritising yourself. I totally agree with that as well. A person I totally agree with and I just sat down with last Monday was Frogi. Yeah, she's the LA singer-songwriter, right, that I spoke about at the top of the show. Yeah, well, this is it. This is the Get to Know Q&A with Frogi. And you know what? We should listen to it. And we're going to listen to it in all its glory. And we're going to play tracks of hers as well just around it. And this is her. This is part one. This is Frogi on Shuffle House. Epic.
The whole beginning of Frogi was pretty much like a diary for me. Because I've been in music for many years. And Frogi is a relatively new project for me. So it was kind of like a side project where I just vented and I could do whatever I want. And actually my first EP was like 90% recorded on my MacBook's mic, just like getting it off my chest. And I think that causes an authenticity that, you know, just naturally happens. Because I wasn't thinking too much. I was just like, I needed to get stuff out and I needed to make these songs. So, yeah, I think that's how it got.
So as you were honing your craft, if you will, you were kind of stumbling upon a certain theme, or did you have a certain theme in mind as you were creating and getting all that stuff out there?
I think it kind of happened at the same time. Like while I was creating, I discovered that there was a lot of things that were sounding similar and they were kind of tying together naturally. And I think, you know, I've said this to people before where it's like, I didn't really choose the Frogi aesthetic. Like it just happened that way because it was what was in my brain and I was just doing exactly what I wanted. And it ended up sounding similar to each other. So it ended up working out, which to me hadn't happened before. And I took that as a sign I was like going in the right direction, where I didn't really have to decide on anything before it happened. It just happened naturally.
Yeah. And while you were creating those files of Froggy Diaries, did you feel a certain sense of intrepidation to put it out there to the masses?
Yeah, I mean, it took maybe 2 years until I put it out. So I definitely had a process with that. Because, like I said, initially it was just like a diary. So I wasn't planning on putting it out. And it was like very, very vulnerable. So I was kind of like, oh God, okay. But then I actually just like dove into it almost all the time and got like super, super inspired and like engulfed in it. And that's when I kind of decided like, okay, I think that this could really be something. And I've put so much work into it, so I might as well see what happens.
Was it hard to go there and go kind of write things in certain situations and kind of paint it with a...
I don't think it was hard, no. I would say it's hard, obviously it's hard to feel deep feelings. It's hard to be a human.
Yeah.
And I've kind of always been a bit of a word vomiter when I'm feeling something, like writing it down or talking through it. Like,
yeah,
I'm a Gemini, so I think that's just the way that I function. I have to get things out off my chest.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say that getting it out was hard. Like the writing it down part is actually probably the nicest part. It's like, it's a good release, I think. Especially if I'm like deep in some kind of feeling.
Yeah.
I like that because it gives me a really clear sense of what I'm writing about and kind of the direction I want to go. It's the hardest when I'm not really feeling anything, or if I'm feeling kind of like okay, or just like
where
bored.
What inspires the feeling or vibe, if you will? What inspires that for you? What gives you the kind of push?
I think a lot of it is my past. I take a lot from my past because I had a pretty rough time when I was younger. And I think I like to like look at myself in those moments that were really, really difficult and talk to myself in those moments and kind of revisit these traumas or these intense experiences and try to make sense of them. I think that that's kind of the world I created, like psychologically speaking, but also sonically. I think the way that my music sounds, especially the music that I've put out as of late, it all stems from childhood, teenage like angst and sadness, but with kind of like a glimmer of hope at the end of the tunnel.
Hold my breath, all is said and done. What have we become? I can see it holding you, the monster in your head, the lights off in your room. How many days can we fade away? All that is left is every mistake. You know, sometimes we're picking it up.
definitely a perfectionist in certain ways. I would say if I'm looking at a project as something that is my work, or, you know, something that I'm planning on putting out into the world, something that I want to release and like show people, then yes, 100%. I'll go back, I make edits, you know, like the last single I put out, Phantom Limb, that version number 15. So
Wow.
I definitely, and especially since I produce everything myself, I kind of have the ability to overthink things and make changes. So sometimes I have to like stop and let a song sit for a few months or even a few years and come back to it. But then like when it comes to everyday writing, because I write every day in my journal and stuff, then I have certain things that I have to be able to create without overthinking, just, you know, releasing, putting it out without thinking, because that part of me needs to thrive.
Yeah, because, you know, there's certain things that branch off overthinking, you know, you might go into stress, you know, where like,
or you'll ruin it,
like,
you know?
Yeah, like it kind of can be counterproductive writing in such a self-consciousness as a coping mechanism. It might kind of give stress. Yeah, so you have to have a balance.
Totally. And I feel like that's the constant struggle of being an artist and a writer and a producer, is like, when is the line where you've gone too far? Because sometimes you write a song, you finish it in an hour and it's done and that's it. And sometimes you write a song and it takes 5 years to even get to a place that you feel like you could put it out. Like, you know, you just never know.
Is that because you're trying to do something different? You're trying to put a different slant or style on it, or change it up a bit, or is it?
I think it's different for everyone. Like Kanye West right now, obviously, is having this moment where he's locking himself in the stadium and he can't release his album. And I relate to that. But I also feel like there's a line where no matter what you do or don't do, the song is going to be the song. And, you know, it has to, in my opinion, it has to hit emotionally. It has to feel like it's gripping me emotionally.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's useless. It doesn't matter like how edgy or cool it is. Like, of course, I want to push boundaries and I want to make things sound exciting. But if I'm like working a song, and I'm trying to achieve that emotion that I'm just not feeling, sometimes I just have to like give it.
What gave you the inspiration then to follow your instincts and just believe in yourself more?
It was my voice, you know. I watched this movie. Have you ever seen Swiss Army Man? It's like an indie film with Daniel Radcliffe.
I'm actually really bad for movies. I am not a movie buff. I'm a sport buff, music buff, but my brother probably saw it. But
it's a super weird movie. Really, really beautiful. I recommend watching it if you want a different kind of experience. It's really, really cool. But the whole soundtrack is by two of the guys from Manchester Orchestra. And the whole soundtrack is done in a way that feels like a film score in the way that it's composed, but it's all sounds from the human voice. There's no other instruments. So it's really, really cool the way that they arranged it. And they actually had the actors actually sing on it too. So it's really raw and really like Yeah, we watched that movie and I was just blown away, and I listened to the whole soundtrack from start to finish and just like bawled my eyes out. And I think that was really a moment for me where I was like, okay, I can do anything. If it's in my head, I can get it out. I have this voice. I can compose things. I feel like I always told myself I couldn't because I'm not, a classically trained pianist or like a crazy guitar player. I can play the piano, I can play the guitar, but I'm not, what's in my head would never translate fully. So I just started using my voice. And then I was like, oh, this isn't so hard. Like I can do it. And then I obviously, now that I've been working more and more, I have gotten better at instruments and musically speaking. I think once I started producing, I really escalated. But I'm still not by any means like a crazy instrumentalist.
Do you feel like with every song you make, is there growth personally, and can you feel it as a person? Like away from music, do you feel like with each song you make, it's shaping you more as a person, giving you more courage in the world?
I love that question. Yeah, totally. I think that music and when you're creating these things and putting your heart into these things and working on them, it's like a piece of you that you're molding and shaping and polishing. And then when they're
your babies.
Yeah, they're your little babies. And when you put it out into the world, it definitely feels like there's a piece of you that's been healed or has gotten closer to being healed. At least I feel like that. I can't speak for all artists, but I've definitely looked at songs that I've written a few years back and kind of noticed how much I've grown since then, and watching the process of writing those songs and like going through what I was going through and healing. It's really cool to see, because a lot of the songs I write, I don't put out, but the writing process is necessary for my well-being. And so it helps.
Really though, when you are starting out in something like that, be it any project ever or anything, when you have trauma, like acceptance seems to be like the top of Mount Everest. And it's a certain climb and a struggle, mainly based on what you're telling yourself. It might not be it's all internal and external warfare, but
this is definitely
you're basically closing a book on it. Like you're basically just that's that one done now. Good, I'm happy with it. On to the next one.
Yeah, and then being able to release it into the world makes it feel so much less isolated. And when when I get messages from people that are like, oh, this happened to me. Like I have a song out called Dylan that is about an ex-boyfriend of mine that passed away from a drug overdose. And I've had, multiple people message me, like people that I've never met, just saying like, telling me their story about their partner that they lost and how the song helped them and like how they related to it. And I was just like, had I never had the courage to make this song, go through those, those feelings in order to be able to make the song and then make it and then put it out, then I wouldn't have ever been able to help these people or meet these people. So it's cool because the healing process to me is like a cycle where you're kind of in it alone and you're feeling something, and then you move, you act, you either like, create something or, find some kind of passion to like get yourself moving again. And then you help other people. And that's like the last bit of the cycle. And so when I was able to help other people, I felt like that was such a, like a chapter ending for me. It was like really, really fulfilled.
Take a step, take a seat. I used to love you next to me. All these pages burning up, 'cause you're a ghost and I'm still numb. Hold me close before I let go. Talk to me with the voice I used to know. When all is quiet, by crashing waves, I can hear you saying, let go. Saying, let go. Years feels like a myth. Depending on the state I'm in, I can carry you around and watch my life burn to the ground. Hold me close before I let go. Talk to me with the voice I used to know. When all is quiet, but crashing waves, I can hear you saying, let go. Saying, let go. Saying, let
So yeah, that EP is definitely a lot more about love, romantic love and self-love and everything in between and how they intertwine with each other. And I think it has a lot to do about, desperation and not necessarily in a bad way, but the desperation that love can give you. Was a big theme going on throughout that whole thing, because I was visiting my past and I was envisioning places I would go as a teenager and feelings I would feel and dynamics that were constantly shifting, and then breakups that had happened, and things like that. And so it, the storyline in the EP kind of fell together really nicely. And especially with Sunrise, I feel like Sunrise doesn't get talked about as much, and that's fine because whatever, but that song means a lot to me because it was like the song that was like, there is light at the end of the tunnel. For me, it was kind of like a closure.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the other ones, I guess Thank You is a little bit of a closure too, but Thank You is a little bit more like, oh, I'm like back on my feet again. I'm like ready to be myself and love myself. Like, even though I've been through all this stuff and this person broke me so much. And yeah, I really love that whole EP too. I love Moonlight. It's one of my favorite songs I've ever written. It's about this beach that I would go to as a kid on the East Coast with my family. And I actually went to that beach again a couple weeks ago, and it was so cool to see it again because it had been like some time. And yeah, I feel like I've grown a lot since that EP too. Even though it was just a couple years ago, it feels like a lifetime.
Yeah. So when you have to sing these songs back again, and probably throughout your career you'll have to sing them again. Would you ever kind of feel of like, like the recorded version and the live version, would they stay the same, or would you change them in any way?
Well, we've definitely, I only played 2 live shows because I started doing live just a couple months before COVID. So that was a bummer, but I'm getting back slowly.
W COVID.
I know. But I actually put together an all-female choir so that they could do all the vocal parts with me. And then my friend Dora, who's in the choir, and we work together a lot. She's an amazing artist too. She plays the cello. And so for Moonlight, she would play the cello, and it would just be the girls and the cello and all a cappella otherwise. And then we would have like snapping and clapping and stuff. And that was super fun. That was super, super fun. And it definitely is so powerful live to sing with all those women and like hear these songs come to life in a new way. It's really, really cool, and harmonizing with a bunch of babes is like my dream. I definitely had some experiences that were far from healthy and far from helpful when it came to creating. In particular, when I was very young, when I was like 18, 19 and just moved here, and there's just a power dynamic that happens sometimes with men that have had years of experience and or success, quote unquote, and young females that are just starting out in the industry. And I didn't like seeing that power dynamic over and over again, because I definitely saw it repeat itself, not just with me, but with friends of mine and other people. And, it's part of the industry. It's the way things have been for a long time. So, it's expected, but it doesn't mean that we have to accept it,
There's a time where you should speak out, and kind of get a group of people behind you, and then take a stand and
And in this case, I thought, taking a stand would mean just me learning how to produce and adding to the pool and trying to empower myself, because I also had very distinct visions creatively that weren't really coming to life, and I wasn't finding my way. I was doing relatively well in sessions and doing things that sounded good, but I wasn't really creatively satisfied. So that was part of it too, for sure.
Yeah.
But it was super, super empowering to learn how to do it, and to also, not only for myself when I'm producing, but also when I'm in the room with another producer, where if, you know, a producer is like mansplaining something to me, I actually know what software he's using, what plugins he's using, because I use the same ones, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Quite patronizing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's been really nice to.
I don't like dudes. Yeah, I'm a different kind of dude. Yeah. Yeah, I don't get them.
Yeah, dudes can be annoying. They can also be amazing, as can women. You know?
Yeah, right. It's like
we're just weird. We're weird creatures, and we have a lot of ego problems and stuff. And you know, it's all good. But it's been really nice to be able to teach other women how to produce. I've been helping a lot of the Frogi girls with their own production too, and seeing them grow as producers has been like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, so like if they're the Froggy girls, but you're Froggy, so would they be the little toads? Or
we've been thinking about this. Right now we're just calling them Froggy friends.
Froggy friends. I like that. There's alliteration there. It's quite good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Little toads. I know we were thinking tadpoles for a while.
Yeah, tadpoles.
Didn't, you know, sound as good. So Froggy friends for now, but TBD.
Yeah, definitely. What's the name of your pet lizard? I'm quite fascinated.
Broccoli.
Broccoli. Wow.
He's a chameleon.
Does he have a chameleon? Sorry.
No, I mean he's a kind of lizard, so yeah.
I know, right? Yeah, he's a cousin. Does he have an adoration for broccoli? Is that based on what he wanted you to call him? Did he ask you, "Hey, call me broccoli"?
Initially, it was my fiance actually who dabbles in recreational marijuana and thought the name was funny. Because you know that song by Dram that's like da na 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 with that broccoli.
Yeah.
Fond of me. We were obsessed with that song at the time, and so we named him Broccoli.
It had to be.
Well, I guess come tomorrow you could be less on the fence. Cold mornings feel the pictures in your head. You could paint away the fear until the lonely creeps in. But friend, we've been over this one time and time again. He's not coming back and this is all pretend. And someday you'll be a ghost, but this is not the end. Moonchild, full of every color. He will never love them all. He'd rather see you fall. Young self, I know you'd rather feel it all with no help, but you're crying out for him, and he's just a phantom limb. Ooh, young self, you're front and center, and he's rotting on a back shelf, and you're crying out for him, but he's just a phantom limb. Find the woods and let the trees work out the wood and should and could, and understand instead of being understood. Time is slow, but soon enough you'll see that this is not the end. Moonchild, full of every color. He will never love them all. He'd rather see you. Young self, I know you'd rather feel it all with no help, but you're crying out for him, but you're crying out for him, and he's just a phantom limb. Ooh, young self, you're front and center, and he's rotting on the back shelf, and you're crying out for him, but he's just a phantom limb.
Probably better to like here label it after it's done.
Exactly. If I think about what genre of music I'm making before I make it, it's gonna sound like shit. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what version of you you said like you when you write music you like to write about different versions of yourself. So when writing Phantom Limb, what version of you is in Phantom Limb?
That's my young self, my teenage self. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's pretty obvious because the lyrics literally say young self.
I know, yeah, young self. Yeah, it's
pretty no, not offending your question or anything, but like
I know you're not.
It's it's my my teenage self, heartbroken over a dude, not seeing her own worth, not seeing the amazing things that she's gonna do afterwards.
Yeah, like you were absolutely awesome back then, but just your default was something different, I guess. Yeah.
And just like being a teenager is so difficult. Like
it is really hard.
All your hormones everywhere, and like everything just feels like the end of the world. And like
I was a boy with red hair in secondary school, so like I got a rough deal. But then I was teaching English in Spain, and I asked, do gingers get a rough deal in Spain? And they're like, no. God, really? I should have gone to school in Spain then.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, yeah. Oh God. Yeah,
gingers
they can
be cherished. They're going extinct, aren't they?
Well, they've lived in a state of red zone like for a long time. We should.
No pun intended.
Yeah, right. we are a protected. We should be a protected species, but like everybody should be protected. With we should protect ourselves, because we're destroying the planet. Yeah.
Oh my God.
We should think less about bullying gingers in the playground and more about how we can recycle our rubbish.
Oh my God. Yes, 100%. 100%.
Yeah. Right. So, if you were to write an EP tomorrow, Shelby, and you had to choose a different theme, they said like, it can't be the themes of love anymore. What would you write about instead? And you only have like a brief time. It's like, sorry, we need to get this answer by the hour.
Oh man. I think I've always wanted to do a concept album, but I think instead of an EP it would be an album. Does that count? If I can do
it counts. Yeah, it counts. It's a EP, LP.
An overachiever and do like 10 songs instead. I've always wanted to do a concept album. It's still a goal of mine to go off into somewhere rural in the middle of nowhere and sit in a house by myself for a month straight and just write an album from start to finish. Because I wanted to be a novelist when I was younger too. I love writing short stories, and maybe I'll write a book someday, we'll see. But I really like the idea of writing an album as a novel in that way. I mean, I know Taylor Swift did it recently with Folklore and Evermore, where she made those characters and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think mine would probably end up being a little bit more autobiographical, but yeah, that's what I would do. I would write an autobiography, but in album form, and maybe, add some drama to make it more interesting.
Yeah, that sounds really, really plausible. That sounds achievable. Yeah.
Totally.
So I've heard it first before anybody. Great. To choose a label.
Or
what made you choose to go that route?
I really like Tomorrow, the magazine. They own Apartment 22. I think that their aesthetic is really cool. And visually speaking, I wanted to expand that side of things in my own brand. And that was really exciting to me. And yeah, in my eyes, I just wanted to grow and, expand my network, especially with people in the UK. Like, that was exciting to me. And I really like Joe, the guy that owns it. He and I have had some really good talks, and yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm pretty it's still in the beginning phases, so we'll see how it goes. But so far they've been really great. And I'm one of their first artists. I think I am their first artist, actually. So that was cool to me too, where I'm just like, okay,
amazing.
Let's see how this goes. It's kind of an experiment for everyone involved.
You don't want to call yourself a prototype, but you're definitely not. You are the leading light.
Light, yes. I'm not a guinea pig.
I can taste the ocean, I can see the moon. Everything that's broken is everything that's you. I think I might have dreamt it when the darkness spread. I couldn't tell my real life from what was in my head. This uncontrollable force pulls me back in time. I can learn to move on if I can make it right. I'll be waiting on the sunrise. This uncontrollable force pulls me back in time. I can learn to move on if I can make it right. I'll be waiting on the sunrise. Sun.
Well, wasn't that just brilliant? That was everything you need to know about Frogi. And you're in for a treat because closing out the show with 3 of her Desert Island tracks later, so you don't want to miss that. In fact, you don't want to miss the next 3 songs we're going to play as well, because you're in for a right treat. This is just brand new music here on Shuffle House. It just gets better and better and better. This is Liberty with Playing in the Sun, featuring Milk. This is brand new.
We were playing in the sun, just diving in the sea. And I hope you hang around in the light, just you and me. I will find you, darling, before we go to waste. I can hear in your calling, you're longing for the sunny days. All that I can do, all that I can do is keep waiting for the light. And all that I can do, all that I can do is keep waiting. We were playing in the sun, just diving in the sea. And I hope you hang around in the light, just you and me. In the light, just you and me. We were made for loving. Just smile and make a happy face. For the first time in my life, I don't feel like going off to space. All that I can do, all that I can do is keep waiting for the light. Yeah, all that I can do, all that I can do is keep waiting. We were playing in the sun, just diving in the sea. And I hope you'll hang around in the light, just you and me. We were playing in the sun, just diving in the sea. And I hope you're having fun in the light, just you and me.
Hey guys, this is Royal Yellow, and I'm going to talk a little bit about my song Until, which is the second side of a 2-sided EP called Still Until that I recently put out. I wrote Until last year, pretty much in the first couple of weeks of lockdown, when we had just sort of gone into that weird phase of life. And like many people, I was kind of looking after myself, or at least trying to look after myself in new ways, and ways of, just managing and dealing with what was going on around me. And one of my ways of doing that was just to bury myself in making music. And another way of doing that was to immerse myself in meditation. I was doing a lot of meditation at the time, and I was listening to a lot of Tibetan bowls music, which is very new agey. And I just thought they had this amazing kind of sound off them. Really, just like the reverberations and the drones of them really appealed to me, and felt like something that could work really well within electronic music. So I started sampling the sounds of Tibetan bowls, and just creating this really expansive, long meandering piece that was, I think, came to about 12 minutes in length, and it was just this long, sprawling, meditative, ambient piece that didn't have any beats on it, or didn't have any synthesizers or vocals. But then once I dropped to kind of a standard kind of 4/4 beat on it, like at 120 BPM, it just started to sort of take on a new life, and actually started to feel like something that could have massive potential as a kind of a festival dance tune. So I really just kind of had a lot of fun from there, and just got carried away adding tons of synths and weird sort of affected vocal ideas. And it was just like, it was honestly the most enjoyable song process I've ever had in terms of writing and recording. It was such a long song. I didn't really know how I was ever going to finish it or put it out, but I wasn't really concerned about that at the time, because the world had sort of stood still. But this one thing that I kept kind of thinking of as I was writing the song was this idea that, like, one day it would be performed in front of people, and one day it would be performed at the end of this long sort of period of waiting. So that was kind of what was sort of ushering me on and keeping me going and motivating me in terms of like the atmosphere and the sonics of it. I just wanted it to feel really euphoric and really celebratory and joyous. So I hope that comes through in it. And I'm really looking forward to finally getting it out on the road soon and playing it in the manner in which it was intended. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I really enjoyed making it. And thanks for letting me talk about it.
to make sure I don't lose control. And strangers thinking I'm crazy, 'cause I done lost all I ever wanted, and I'm still paranoid that you still thinking I'm faking, 'cause I never feel like I'm the one, like I don't belong. Singing, ooh, feel like I've been myself this time and time again. Feel like I've never felt. I'm running out of time this time and time again. Strange visions roll back. The curtains keep me guessing what's behind the show. But I keep it cool. It can't break through when I think about all my time with you. Singing to strangers thinking I'm crazy, 'cause I done lost all I ever wanted, and I'm still paranoid that you still think that I'm faking, and I never feel like I'm the one, like I don't belong. Ooh, feel like I've been myself this time and time again. Feel like I've never felt. I'm running out of time this time and time again. Feel like I've been myself this time and time again. Feel like I've never felt. I'm running out of time this time and time again.
That is the sound of Benjamin Carter. And Benjamin Carter is, and that's time and time again, and Benjamin Carter is an LA artist whose beautiful music is just shaping my ears at the moment. It's so good. And in this music video, for Time Again, Carter intros the song with a monologue about someone telling him he's dumb for pursuing his dreams, even if he doesn't get paid for it. You know, noting that attitude is adjacent to what inspired some of the lyrics in Time Again. He continues to create and express himself. You know, he just lets loose and he captures a freedom in his self-expression, even against the backdrop of doubt, whether it be internal or external. And he ends his video with a joyous dance as he holds his baby girl, and it's so cute. And Benjamin will be on the show next week to speak about his career in music to date, and just an interesting guy all round, really, and I look forward to talking to him. Really, really do. Before that you heard Royal Yellow, and Royal Yellow is the moniker of Mark O'Brien, and he's an Irish artist, and he's transposed himself from the post-rock world with the band Enemies to the dance world, what he's doing now, and, you know, his intricacy, you know, excelling in his new role as an electronic producer. And that is an epic track. I'm getting some LCD sound system off that track Until, and, you know, wonderful. And he gave a synopsis before the track. And before that you heard Playing in the Sun featuring Milk, and that's by Liberty. Liberty is a former guest on the show, and I just love hearing his music. And that's his third track to be released from this year. It's a follow-up to The Last Time and The Great Pause. And he had his debut album, Haven't Felt This Great Since 1988 last year. And that was an epic song. 1988. Great track. And yeah, there's more from Liberty. I can smell it. I really can. And, you know, we're going to close out the show now with Frogi's 3 Desert Island Tracks, and they are Fleetwood Mac The Chain, Phoebe Bridgers' Garden Song, and Cat Stevens' Moon Shadow. Yeah, it's gonna be a good one, guys. And this is it. I'll see you next time, where we'll have Benjamin Carter drop by on Shuffle House and become part of the furniture, because Shuffle House is the home of music and conversation. So, until next time, goodbye.
Someday I'm gonna live in your house up on the hill. And when your skinhead neighbor goes missing, I'll plant a garden in the yard. Then they're gluing roses on a flatbed. You should see it, I mean thousands. I grew up here till it all went up in flames, except the notches in the door frame. I don't know when you got taller. See our reflection in the water off a bridge at the Huntington. I hopped the fence when I was 17. Then I knew what I wanted. And when I grow up, I'm gonna look up from my phone and see my life. And it's gonna be just like my recurring dream. I'm at the movies, I don't remember what I'm seeing. The screen turns into a tidal wave. Then it's a dorm room like a hedge maze. And when I find you, you touch my leg and I insist. But I wake up before we do it. I don't know how, but I'm taller. It must be something in the water. Everything's growing in our garden. You don't have to know that it's haunted. The doctor put her hands over my liver. She told me my resentment's getting smaller. No, I'm not afraid of hard work. I get everything I want. I have everything I wanted.
As I'm being followed by a moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow, leaping and hopping on a moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow. And if I ever lose my hands, lose my plow, lose my land, oh, if I ever lose my hands, oh, I won't have to work no more. And if I ever lose my eyes, if my colors all run dry, yes, if I ever lose my eyes, oh, I won't have to cry no more. Yes, I'm being followed by a moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow, leaping and hopping on a moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow. And if I ever lose my legs, I won't moan and I won't beg. Oh, if I ever lose my legs, oh, I won't have to walk no more. And if I ever lose my mouth, all my teeth, north and south, yes, if I ever lose it take long to find me? I asked the faithful light. Oh, did it take long to find me? And are you gonna stay the night? I'm being followed by a moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow, leaping and hopping on a moon